All right, moving on. Back to video games. So something that you two might actually be interested in. I got a Steam Deck. The Steam Deck showed up in the mail.
Oh.
It finally showed up. I had to fight fucking FedEx for it. I got to enjoy the wonderful thing of you have to sign for this, but goddamn will I not knock on your door. I'll literally sprint up to the door and slap it on and be like, you have 3 delivery attempts. So I had to like fucking camp outside. I had to take the ultimate step of signing the paper they left behind and saying you have my permission to just leave it, which also gives them the permission to just steal it if they feel like it. But luckily, they were not a thief. They just wanted to not talk to me. So I got the Steam Deck. It's a cool little device. More than anything, upon picking it up, is that, Willie, you held a Steam controller in your hand.
I have.
Susie, have you ever held a Steam controller in your hand?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an abject piece of fucking shit, right? It is.
Yes.
It's one of the worst. It's not like an Ouya controller, but it's terrible. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, feels better than the Switch, substantially.
Oh,
it has better. It has better buttons. It has a better D-pad. It has way better triggers. It has a good capacitive touchscreen. It's really fucking big.
How tight?
It's like a.
How tight is the stick? On a scale from like, let's say N64 stiff to
it's a 360. It's a
Dreamcast
Xbox
loose.
One. It is an Xbox One stick.
Okay.
In quality.
Okay.
And the D-pad is a Saturn pad-ish.
Oh, the circle. Okay.
No, it's not the circle, but it has that mush on it. But it's good. The buttons are as good as an Xbox controller. The triggers are about as good as the PS5 triggers. It feels really good. It's 1.5 pounds. It's fucking heavy, and the back of it heats up like you would not believe, and it shoots heat out the top. Like I'm talking like not hot enough to burn, but hot to the like physically hot to the touch. Where if you go to move your hands and like get to the back and you touch, you're like, ooh, that's hot.
Huh.
Its battery life is terrible. It has like a 2.5-hour battery life if you're really pushing it. 4 hours if you're not. However, as a piece of technology to play personal computer games on, it is crazy. It is absolutely nuts. I tried a huge variety of games. I tried FF14, which I could get running at 60 frames a second. I tried Strive, which I could get running at 60 frames a second. I tried a number of CRPGs at which the touchpad, the trackpads worked excellently with the pre-configured things for mouse and keyboard movement. I tried Ultra Kill, Persona 4 Golden, I didn't try God of War, but God of War works on it. Neon White, I fucked with it. Elden Ring runs, if you fuck with the settings, Elden Ring runs better on it for its size than it does on PC. It runs at a locked 30 if you tweak it without stuttering, which the PC version literally can't do. I was able to go into desktop mode and fuck around and do some shit in there that I'm not going to discuss because it's against the TOS of the game that I'm describing. People were able to get the Street Fighter 6 beta running on that thing, like at 60 and playing that wherever. It's a really, really cool piece of tech that will never, ever, ever replace your computer or, your dedicated, console. But what it did do was allow me to do FF14 dailies in bed before going to bed, or just chill on the couch playing Vampire Survivors. And it brought up to me the thing, which is why I don't play the Switch portably ever. And that's because for me to play the Switch portably and enjoy it, it means that when I'm not playing the Switch portably, the Switch version of the game I'm playing is the one that I want to play. If I'm playing Crypt of the Necrodancer on the Switch portably, when I come home, I want to play the PC version of Crypt of the Necrodancer. Mm-hmm. The only games that I would ever use that between the two is something like Breath of the Wild or, some Nintendo exclusive. But the games that actually qualify in that really niche use case, I don't want to play portably ever in the first place.
Did you try plugging in a USB peripheral and controller or anything like that and playing it with
Yeah,
that,
works flawlessly, instantly.
because
Just
that's
playing
the
well, the red controller that I usually have, I
fuck yeah.
have now put to the other side of the house.
Because no
Is
matter
that,
what the portability, no matter what the controls and all that stuff feels like, if you can just plug in a controller you like Steam, and play anything that works.
Oh, absolutely. You can plug in a mouse and keyboard, or Bluetooth a mouse and keyboard, or plug in a controller, or Bluetooth a controller.
DualSense?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
absolutely. Or Xbox controller, whatever.
Because there's stuff where I'm
and
kind of like, there's anytime you have to go outside of Steam, like DS for Windows and shit, and you have like drivers that might be, external.
No, worked instantly. It even has the right buttons in the Steam OS.
Sweet. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, so I have the deck the what's it called? The dock that comes with it. And the dock is where you're going to be plugging in most of that shit. But it absolutely represents a use case of if I have to wait for a flight, or I was at the dentist. I was at the dentist playing Vampire Survivors. Which, by the way, good for me. I went to the dentist this morning and got a filling, which meant for the first 2 hours of this podcast, I was horribly numb mush mouth, but nobody noticed. Haha, good for me. But yeah, no, and then I could play Vampire Survivors on the save file that I wanted to when I got home, instead of having that awful thing of like, do I want to play the Switch version of this game and be locked on the Switch version of this game forever? No, I would never want to play any multi-platform game on the Switch permanently ever. There's only one real problem with the Steam Deck, and that is when I'm in bed and I'm holding it over my head, I'm fucking terrified. I'm going to drop it on my face. It is heavy. I am very scared. I've dropped my phone on my face, and it sucks. I've dropped a Switch on my face, and it sucks. And I don't want to drop the deck on it. I'm scared.
I usually hold things like just by my chest level, and then have like a pillow tilting up. Is it too hot to rest it on yourself?
Oh no, you can totally. Yeah.
Okay.
No heat comes out the bottom, which I assume is a design thing.
Do you, when you're laying in bed, you hold it like up like this?
Yeah, I hold it over my head like right above.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem comfy, but
well, where would you guys hold it?
Well, I sit I have two pillows and I kind of tilt, and I have it like if it's like my phone or something, I have it like.
Oh, so you're kind of like sitting. So I'm like lying straight on my back.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting up a bit and looking at it like that.
Okay.
Like this.
I play the Switch kind of like how I'm reading a book in bed. Like I kind of like.
Oh, okay.
I'm, sitting. I'll
Okay, I
put
can
my
try
back
that.
against the backboard.
The deck is clearly meant to be sitting in like a chair or back and have it like resting on your palms, like on top of your legs. Like that seems to be the use case, because you can even tell with the power cable goes into the top of the system instead of the bottom.
Did you get a screen protector on it?
They're shipping one to me, but it's taking forever.
Okay.
I will say though, the number one biggest piece of shit about the Steam Deck is that the cable they give for you is like 3 feet long. It is like laughably short. It is uselessly short. You have to get a longer cable or an extension cable. It's totally useless. There's nowhere I can sit in my house in which it actually reaches an outlet.
Can you drop the settings?
Seems like such a common problem now. Like nowadays, for like every electronic device, you get like a 2-foot cable, and it's like I need like a 10-foot.
What is this for? The floor?
Can you drop the settings so that it lasts longer than 2.5 hours? Because that's incredibly short.
So you can drop the settings in a wild variety of ways. So you can drop the in-game settings. You can drop the resolution in the game. You can mess with your particular game settings as you would, right? For the system itself, you can drop its refresh rate from 60 to 40 or anywhere in between. You can frame rate limit any half integer of the frame rate. So if it's 60, if it's your 60 hertz, you can lock it at 60, 30, or 15. If you put it down to 40 hertz, you can lock it at 40, 20, or 10, which I wouldn't recommend. You can limit the amount of voltage going to the GPU. You can limit the heat that you want it to hit. You can limit its CPU to certain cycles.
Okay.
You can also do that per game. So certain games you can be like, fuck it, open it up, and other games you can say turn it down. Yeah, it's great. It's a really cool piece of tech that I've really been enjoying a lot. I like it better than the Switch. Also, I have yet to try it, but I've heard that I can also play Switch games.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I still I just don't have the use case, but
you will when Street Fighter 6 comes out.
Well, so that's the question is plug it into the monitor, plug the sticks in. How's it going?
So that use case already exists for most fighting games on it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when I was talking about it, somebody sent me a tweet that was like, hey, so this is what I throw in my backpack. My stick, my external monitor, which is like a tiny, maybe 12-inch monitor,
Mm-hmm.
the dock, the deck, and the cable. And they have a portable setup they can just roll around with. They play Melty Blood mainly, right? Which that'll run on anything.
Yeah. These simple games will be fine for sure. Okay. Huh.
I got to play one when I was working on my episode of X Plays G4.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that fucking
I
down
do.
dinosaur of a network? Again. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I played a God of War 2018 on it, and it was really good. It felt really good to play. I got through the entire intro.
Oh, that reminds me. There's something else I wanted to mention. So it has 4 back buttons built into it that are usually not mapped, or they're mapped to some kind of default. But it helps for games that are weird on a control. So like Pillars of Eternity 2, right? That is a mouse and keyboard game through and through. And the playable status lists, hey man, some of the text might be really way too small. So what you can do is I mapped one of the back buttons to toggle magnifier, so that if I actually cannot read something because the screen is too small, I just hit a button and then immediately just mouse over.
Is the button resting where your grip is, or do you have to reach for it?
The button is resting where the bottom 3 fingers on your hand are.
Okay.
But there's no worry of accidentally pressing them because they're that type of hard button that needs
tactile.
A push.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because I fucking grip.
Yeah, no, you're not going to do it by accident. You need to go, I want to push this button, click.
Okay. Because every single controller I've ever held with back buttons, like the Elites, for example, 100% of the time, I'm accidentally pressing them. Yeah. Just pull those out completely, Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool piece of kit. I really like it.
All right. Let's get moving because we have been doing it.
We've been streaming for 4 hours. Holy
shit. Apologies because it's fucking obnoxious length podcasting we do over here, but I kind of hope you
people listen to it throughout their whole week. Give them the value.
No, I know
so they can't listen to other competing podcasts.
Certainly, absolutely. But
remember, guys, to use a code word CBT for your next purchase of.
We're hours away from that, so you're fine. But anyway, I'm conscientious of other people's time and such. I remember in the past that's been an issue. So when you're talking about the various settings and such, that is kind of interesting because there's a story that came out this week in regards to multiple developers for the Xbox Series S talking about how they hate it and the specs are an albatross of a system that they have to develop for.
It's the fucking hard drive thing again for the 360.
So not just that, but also it's effectively a 1080p console. It doesn't support 4K. It says it goes up to 1440, but that's really specific circumstances. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Xbox Series S is the discless, digital-only, cheaper one that kind of came out with the Series X, Series S. And yeah, it everything that comes out this gen has to support it, but it means kind of struggling with something on the weaker end of specs that a lot of developers are apparently annoyed about having to support. In many cases, you're choosing between performance. It can go up to 60, but definitely can't do anything beyond 1080 and 60, in terms of limitation. The hard drive makes a difference as well. The RAM, like all the specs in it are just like lower end, but it can handle current gen at its base level. So this is becoming a more and more of a complaint, to which there was a conversation. Yeah, Bossa Studios was the one that kind of was making reference to that. Gerstmann chimed in to say that, what was it, like, oh yeah, that it seems like a broken argument, because most of these games also come to PC and they already have to cover a wide variety of configurations, which is super true, right? But that same wide variety of configurations and the lack of like real PC compliance is kind of why PC versions of games often are like buggier. They have a lot of permutations they go through that don't get fully tested to the maximum. Anything changing resolutions, changing performance, and so on. The more variables you add to a game, the less time they're going to get tested overall. So when a requirement comes in for like a weaker version of something on a console, like I absolutely have seen from the inside, QA wise, developers super annoyed at like having to adhere to low end shit when they want to just like be able to lock it in on a lead platform. It's a bit odd though, because it's like they're kind of just going like, can you move on with this and stop bottlenecking production?
No.
And well, the problem is that like, no matter, I don't know how it's sold, but however it's sold, you sold it. Therefore, people have it. Therefore, they expect to continue being able to buy games for this platform for the rest of the generation. So you can't just say, you know what? Never mind. Fuck you.
Yeah, I only have I don't have the Series X. I have the Series S, so I have a lot of experience with it, and it really does seem like a kind of like quick like backwards compatibility machine. Like it runs older Xbox games like perfectly. Like if you want to play like some Elder Scrolls game at like 60 FPS and it loads in 1 second, like that's what I use it for. And like other games like, the Dead Space games and all that kind of stuff, but it does struggle quite a bit with current gen games like Cyberpunk. Like people were demanding a 60 FPS mode for that, and it got it, but when you play that game in 60, it did. When you play it at like frame rate mode, like then like older issues that the game used to have start happening again.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
interesting.
Like there's like a glitch where like whenever you'd pick up a new gun, like like your character like looks at it, like that kind of thing. And it's like you just see their hand doing what I'm doing, and then the gun loads in like
Nice.
5 seconds later.
I love it.
So it's definitely a little console that's trying its best, but from my personal experience playing like some newer games with it, it definitely feels like it's pushing real hard.
I mean, I wonder if well, again, it would have to depend on the spec and how much it's sold, but like the GPU seems to be the main problem in this case. Like, could you increase the spec as it gets more affordable and as the generation moves forward by rolling out a different SKU for it, but then you're getting into a whole other can of worms, because it's a sub SKU of a subcategory of a generation anyway. That gets more complicated when you have 2 price points instead of 1. So anyway, one thing's for sure though is like, I can tell you that behind the scenes, like devs absolutely fucking hate it the more they have to split their builds, and you can run into shit like what you just described, where that could be a matter of like the game like getting bottlenecked and chugging over those visual issues, and then like causing further bugs to appear. Or it can even be in some cases just like there's 2 versions of the game that are like incorrectly versioned when you switch over this mode. Like when you switch to a different setting, like you'll actually legitimately go roll back to a previous thing that was unfixed or unpatched.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure if you just run Cyberpunk at like the quality mode, like it's 30 FPS, but it's fine. You know, like it's back to being fine again.
Okay.
So it's interesting that you bring that up because that's like the exact experience I had with it on that console.
So I will say that if you're the kind of person who has your Xbox Series S and you decide, you know what, I'm going to upgrade my PC. I'm sick of this console shit. I'm going to get a fancy PC. I'm going to buy a 4090, particularly if you buy it from Newegg. I would have a piece of advice for you. And that's when the mailman shows up with your stuff and you bring it into the house, you take out your phone. And as you open it, you videotape yourself opening up that package so that if you get a bunch of fucking rocks or pieces of metal in there instead of your video card, like what has been happening to Newegg over the past week, you can prove to customer service after they lock you out of your account.
Okay, so at what level of the transaction is the thief stepping in?
Shipping.
Shipping?
Shipping.
Okay.
So I love how someone says that's fake, and I'm like, Newegg put out a statement saying, yeah, it happens sometimes. We're very sorry. Like, no, that happens. That does happen.
That's like when your fucking that's like when your Uber Eats gets stolen and eaten, except it was possibly thousands of dollars. Like,
yeah, I think my favorite part. Every now and then you see an Uber Eats thing or a complaint on the internet, and it'll be like the message will come through and it's just hungry. And you go, what? And then they go, food gone.
Oh, yeah.
And then order
screenshot.
Canceled.
Look,
like,
your meal
okay.
is delivered.
All right, you know what? That's more honest. I can appreciate that.
There you go.
But yeah, no, if you're getting a high-ticket electronic item like this, take your phone out and record yourself opening it up so that you have an easier time disputing it and being like, yeah, some motherfucker sent me some bricks instead of a video card.
That's insane. Holy shit.
It tends to happen on every gigantic new super high-ticket video card thing from not the main manufacturer. So like Founders Editions from NVIDIA don't tend to have that happen to it because I don't think NVIDIA gives a shit or they pay their shipping guys more.
Yeah.
But I've seen it happen from Newegg. I've seen it happen from Amazon.
I mean,
is that a case of like they don't package it in like a cardboard box? Because I've actually had that happen, I think, because I ordered an arcade stick, like a fight stick, a Hori Rap 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it fucking like it got lost like in the shipping process and Amazon, like I reached out to them and they were like, oh, don't worry, we'll send you another one. And when that one arrived at my place, there was no cardboard box on it. It was literally just the Hori Rap 4, like
weird
in its own packaging. And I was like, well, no wonder the first one got stolen because they saw a fucking expensive ass arcade stick and stole it, you know?
The point of failure, and I think Newegg went through on this, it's the point of failure is Newegg Warehouse has the 4090 box, and that's supposed to go in the cardboard box, and that's nothing sealed, so they just grab it, put some rocks in it, then package it up and ship it out.
I thought losing out to a bot order was the worst that could happen. Turns out you can have your you can have your money taken, get excited for the process, prep for it, have rocks show up, and then have to rejoin the fucking impossible queue.
Yeah, that happened with PS5s as well, depending on where you got them from.
I
would know about that one, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had to buy mine from you.
Yeah, no, that was a stupid fucking situation.
I wasn't alive for it at the time, but I have been told stories about the time that my dad was in traffic with my mom in the car, and dude came up and had a VCR, and it was holy shit, yo, a VCR? Damn, for how much? Yeah, you gotta grab it. And my dad was like, okay, fine. We wanted to get one of these fancy new VCRs, and basically paid for a box of rocks, which they took home. And I'm like, you deserve it. You fucking deserve it. That's what you get. You know. Just literally wheeling up to the window and being like, take it or leave it, and you just like, yeah, okay, well, there you go.
You know, I just realized somebody in the chat pointed out that PS5 shit got so bad that people were like running into open delivery trucks and yanking PS5s out of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You still can't fucking buy one. How stupid is that?
You get to be awake at like 3 in the morning when the fucking post goes live.
PlayStation
from,
Direct
what's-his-face?
is like pisses me
Wario.
off so bad because it's like, well, what if mine broke? Well, I'll just go to PlayStation Direct, wait in the line. Oh wait, they don't ship to Canada. Fuck me.